How to interrogate a narcissist. You think you know how to talk to a narcissist, but have you ever watched a professional take one apart in an interrogation room? Today, we're breaking down the psychology, the tactics, and the chilling moments when a suspect's own personality becomes their worst enemy. This is how to interrogate a narcissist. In this video, we dive into one of the most fascinating and psychologically intense interrogations captured on camera. Unlike the typical criminal interrogation, today's subject isn't a violent offender in the usual sense. Instead, what makes this so gripping is how a narcissistic personality influences every question, every answer, and every pause in the room. We'll explore what makes a narcissist behave the way they do, how detectives structure their questions, and how psychological pressure can force even the most self-absorbed suspect into revealing more than they intended. Understanding narcissism. Before we get into the interrogation itself, let's talk about narcissism. A narcissist isn't just someone who likes compliments. In psychology, narcissistic personality refers to people who have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, demand admiration, constantly lack empathy for others. These traits make them both fascinating and frustrating to interview. Their self-image becomes their Achilles heel. Detectives don't just ask questions. They watch reactions, they spot defensiveness, and they bait the ego just enough to crack through that psychological armor. Setting the stage. In the interrogation room, the detective begins with a calm but firm approach. Tell us what happened. This sounds simple, but for a narcissist, it's like handing them the microphone and letting their ego lead the conversation. They begin to ramble, not because they want to tell the truth, but because every lie becomes another opportunity to assert superiority. This technique forces the suspect to talk more than they think they should, giving the detective mental footholds. Small inconsistencies, awkward pauses, slips in emotion. Section 3. Breaking the illusion. At one point, the detective uses a classic psychological tactic, contradiction. They gently push back on the suspect's narrative, not aggressively, but deliberately. What you just said doesn't match. Could you explain that again? That's where narcissism becomes vulnerable. The suspect can't tolerate being wrong. So instead of staying silent, they double down, defend, and in doing so, expose elements of their story that aren't true. This is a critical moment where the interrogator shifts from questioning to strategy. The reveal. Eventually, the narcissist starts to slip. Their need to appear smart and in control causes them to contradict earlier statements. They insert details that weren't asked for. And just like that, they give investigators the leverage they need. This is the mirror effect of interrogation. You thought you were leading, but you didn't realize you were teaching them how to talk themselves into a corner. Now, psychological interrogations aren't just about facts. They're about behavior, ego, and human nature. Narcissists, because they view themselves as the star of their own story, often make that story unravel right before our eyes. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more real criminal psychology insights that go beyond the headlines, hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Next time, we'll explore another case where the criminal's own mind became the key to solving the mystery. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay critical,